Okay.
Hey, everybody. We are live with Steve Montgomery from Lamppost Farms. Steve, say hello.
Hello. How are you?
Hello.
It's a beautiful day
So,
today.
Steve is a good buddy of mine. We've met over the last couple of years because he's a local farmer, and local farmers to me are superheroes. They're like right up there with restaurants that will a chef that will cook according to my liking, and farmers. They are like boom. They're always battling.
I think the chefs are probably the best in the business. They make magic out of what we grow.
Yeah, they sure do. But you make magic out of the earth, man. One of the big things that I wanted to talk to you about today for everybody is just how the heck, when the store shelves are being cleared out. I know it's not as bad as what it was last week, but when they were getting cleared out, like, can we still come to you? You're in Ohio, I'm in PA. We're both lockdown states. Can we still come buy from our farmer?
Well, we are considered essential in what we do, and we have a farm store here at the top of our driveway at Lamppost Farm, and we've been busy every Saturday. We're open Saturdays from 9 to 4, and we've sold twice as much product in the last 15 days as we've sold ever,
Yeah.
maybe 3 times as much. We're also doing sales by appointment. If people are interested in that, they can call me. Just find us on our website or my wife, and we can arrange to meet you in the store to keep greater distance between customers.
Yeah, that's awesome. I know I've come by appointment without making an appointment on accident.
Yes, that's awesome.
Hey, Mike, what are you doing today? Yeah. Those are always good days, though. So, if people want to come see you, so like you have the you pull into the farm, and if you guys know where Shaker Woods is at, they are like Shaker Woods is the property behind them. So you literally just go to Shaker Woods and you find their farm. But if someone comes to your farm, they pull in the driveway. If they've made the appointment or if it's a Saturday between the working hours, what do? They just come in the garage.
Yeah, this past weekend we started doing one customer in the store at a time. We asked people to wait in line. Unfortunately, our chicken production is just coming. It's just starting to come back from the winter, and so our egg laying capacity is really low. So we tell people a max of 2 dozen eggs per customer. We might actually reduce that to 1 dozen per customer this week, just because the demand is so high. But we tell people to wait in their car, be patient. We try to sanitize between customers, and then people can come into our store and have at it. Our supplies, thankfully, we're kind of doing the whole oil in the jar theology, hoping that this stuff doesn't run out. And our supply's holding at this point. I'll show you here in a little bit, but I have chicks in the barn that'll be ready in 7 weeks.
Yeah.
We're taking more pigs to the processor in a week or two. So we'll just keep trying to get as much of the product back in the freezer as we can. And people can come and buy. There's no limits on our product at this point, but there may be as we get further on.
Okay. The funny thing is every time you say the name of an animal, chicks, pigs, whatever, I just hold back going, because all of your meat is so terrific. And I think that's the other thing I wanted to talk to you about today is the way you farm. You're not the average local farmer. You practice grass-fed farming with your cows, free range with your chicks. You go above and beyond more than anybody else local that I know of with your pig. So can you go into that some? And I know you've also studied regenerative farming, and I am big on regenerative farming for a lot of reasons. And I'm not sure if you're as far into the regenerative aspect as you want to be yet, but I know that's a big goal if you're not there already.
Well, our goal long-term really is to facilitate as much production out of this farm because of the health of the farm as we can. I don't think we've even begun to tap into it. I'm going to flip the camera around so you can see. Hopefully we're looking. This is Route 7 right here, which is a fairly busy road most days. But across the road is our pasture. When we first started here, we were that was in corn and soybeans, and we've turned it into pasture. And you can see the cattle in the distance, I hope.
Yeah.
And then the white houses, those are our movable chicken pens, which raise our broiler chicks, which are our meat chickens, and then turkeys. And also the red coop down there is our movable egg layers. So we move cows and chickens together around the field, and it facilitates a regrowth and fertility that is really, it's the way the Lord created it to be. I mean, I was thinking this morning when you called me about doing this, about keystone species, um, and just how cattle are kind of a keystone species to the health of the land because of the, I mean, I was just listening to another podcast the other day, and it talked about the fact that cows aren't made to run because their lung capacity is so small, but their rumen capacity is huge. And what they're made to do is to turn grass into fertility. And
How cool.
it's amazing. So their lung capacity is small, and so we have to really take care of them health wise. But by eating grass and hay like these guys are, they turn that into manure that is unmatched in microbial activity. And when we can spread that around by moving them all over the farm, like we do, that everybody's locked down right now, just kind of waiting for the grass to pop, which will happen. But once that starts, the fertility contributions of these guys is really unparalleled.
Yeah.
They're the key to the farm, and then everything else follows along.
Yeah. And you mean that literally, don't you? Like the cows go one place and then you take the chickens right after them to sift around in the manure, eat what they need to, and actually fertilize better, huh?
Oh yeah, yeah, and then that translates into unmatched egg quality, like a density of egg yolks that is almost twice as dense as what you can get anywhere else.
Kind of that bright orange like my walls behind me, huh?
That's right. It's exactly that color. Yep. That actually makes me hungry.
I know, right? I haven't had eggs for like 3 weeks because I had a little egg issue. And you know me and how in tune I am with stuff. So like when I feel different, I cut something out that I know might be a problem. And I'm nearing that time when I'm going to start eating eggs again, and I'm so excited.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm sure your cravings are building.
Yeah.
Hey,
So if you could explain to me, I think you have a pretty good understanding because what the heck's his name? The Glorious Pigness of Pigs.
Joel Salatin.
Yes. Can you explain what happens when a cow munches on grass? And
yeah, so I mean, if we can watch here, I'll flip this back around. I mean, these girls are great. Um, if you can see, if you're watching them eat, I mean, they grab with their tongue. They don't grab with their lips. Like a sheep will nibble with its mouth, but a cow reaches its tongue down and lifts the grass into its face. And what happens is that tugging motion stimulates the roots of the grass plant that kind of wakes up the microbes that are there and says, "Be ready. There's a food source coming." And when they tear the top of that grass off, number one, they eat the top third of the plant usually, and that plant then sheds the bottom third of its roots, and those roots then die off in the soil, become feed for the microbes.
yeah,
And then if by design, they're not meant to stand in mud like they're doing here. Cattle actually are made to eat and move. And they would do this. I mean, if we didn't have fences, they would just eat and move all around the neighborhood.
yeah,
And they would, I mean, I'd get in trouble with my neighbors. That's why I don't have fences. But by eating and moving, what happens is they stimulate that growth. They cause that die off in the soil. The microbes are digesting that. They poop and then they leave. And that manure is then digested by whatever's in the soil also. And the next time they come back around, that plant has regrown and also spread out its root system and new tillers into the soil to create a better grass density.
yeah,
And so the feed gets better and better. That's the concept of regenerative agriculture, is that by in God's creation, he facilitated this kind of stuff to contribute more than it takes. And that's what's happening. I mean, carbon sequestration is a byproduct of that.
Yeah. So that's a huge thing to mention, that when you do regenerative agriculture, when you let the cows grow the grass themselves, not using a plow to actually plow the earth, when you just use the cows and the animals, that sequesters more carbon than the cows create.
Yes, it does. Absolutely.
So
it's a significant sequester. It's not just a break even.
Yeah, right. And I always look at things at a common sensality standpoint. If God created farts to destroy the world, we would have been gone a long time ago. Right?
I love your bluntness. That's awesome.
That's great. It just adds up. Like all the junk we say, like, and the way you describe the way cows eat grass and the way grass requires animal byproducts to grow, that means, sorry, vegetarians, but grass is not vegetarian. Our vegetables are not vegetarian.
You're right. Grass itself is taking up microbial byproduct.
Yeah,
which is an animal. Is a not an animal. It's a species.
I should specify, it's not the vegetarians that care about that as much as vegans. So it's to the vegans, like, you have to have animals to grow the plants you eat. You just do.
Right.
And the damage from the earth comes more from, and this is very controversial somehow, even though the proof's there, it comes more from tilling the earth than it does from having animals on the earth. When you till the earth, you release massive amounts of carbon. So it's wacky, right?
Right, but we're also using fuel to do that. I mean, it's
sure.
And then unfortunately we use all kind of chemicals to kill whatever life was already there.
Yeah. And when you say we, you don't mean you personally. You mean right, we as a society.
Right. The dominant methodology here.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So one more thing I wanted to touch on was having your animals feed in this natural way, having your animals support each other, having the earth and the animals support each other. Can you explain some of what that might do in terms of nutrients for the animals?
Well,
or I should say nutrient density of the animals once they're food for us.
Sure. I mean, that cycle of roots being driven deep into the soil and then pulling minerals. I mean, the better the grass is, the deeper the roots are going. They're pulling all kind of subsurface minerals to the surface. If you look at our pastures, I'm not in that spot now, but across the road where I showed you initially, the amount of worm castings that are on the surface right now is incredible. That always happens in the spring. That's worm poop. When they come to the surface, they drop their manure on the top. And they're pulling minerals from down into the soil. And so we're facilitating as much of that life as we can. And that translates then into the grass, which the cows eat. And those minerals get taken up by them into their meat, both into the cows, the chickens, the pigs, whatever's eating the top of those grasses then. And the cool thing is grass regenerate. I mean, I'm about to mow the yard here. You know, I mean, if I probably should turn the animals out to do that.
Yeah, right.
And I have actually, sometimes intentionally and sometimes unintentionally. But you know, we all do that. We take care of our yards and we mow the grass because it grows back so fast. It is a system that's designed to flourish, and all those minerals are just transferred. Mm-hmm. There's also this. Here, let me show you our pigs that are battling here while we're talking. There's also this thing called mycorrhizal fungi. Whenever you don't till the soil, it's a fungus that grows throughout the soil that links plants to other plants, and they pass nutrients and minerals back and forth to one another. And you know, in really old stands that haven't been disturbed as far as the ground and the sod levels, that fungi is so well developed, they can pass minerals and nutrients for, I mean, who knows how far. That some are saying like miles.
That's incredible.
It's we talk in health about gut bacteria and a healthy internal kind of flora. That's the same thing in the soil. And when that happens, our animals are flourishing too.
That's wow. So that's so amazing to me. I've never, I know roots communicate to each other. I know, like fungus can communicate as a whole animal of a fungus, like a whole being. Because, mushrooms and stuff can be huge underground. I did not realize that it was that significant.
Oh, that's kind of like, we're peering into another world when we start looking like that. I mean,
Yeah.
the Lord created this so much more complex and integrated than we understand. Yep. We just begin to dabble in it.
Yep. And one of my favorite things about working with you guys is part of your mission as a farm is to spread the word of God. And right. I love that. I love that I can be the nutty Bible thumper and talk about whatever I want. And, I don't ever care what people are going to think of me when I talk like that. But I love that there's businesses out there that do the same thing. And you guys do it in such a graceful way, a non-intrusive way. And I say that in a positive, because I think as Christians, we're led to be intrusive, right? We're led to be, if we think one of our friends is going to get hit by a train, should we not jump and shove them off the tracks?
Right.
So, that should be the way we kind of live our lives and bring folks to God. But I love that you guys have the ability to just talk about it, and people just go, oh yeah, I see how there might be God, because I'm seeing how you guys are growing these animals and growing these fields. And you can explain all those things in a matter of a biblical manner. I think that's terrific, and that is one of my favorite things about you guys, aside from how amazing your meat tastes.
Well,
so good.
Maybe in that order. That's awesome. I think that the fact that the Lord created meat to taste well makes it easy to communicate how His word is known in our world.
Yeah.
I mean, all throughout Scripture, you see evidences of, like the oil in the jar theology I was talking about. That's a food metaphor. We can relate to that. We understand that, but it's a theology, but it's also a reality.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very tangible reality. When He created us with taste buds, that's not just utility. We're bent in directions. You talk about like reading your body and how you understand what to eat. Like, you're paying attention to those indicators that He created in you and all of us that tell us, like, this is how He facilitates us thriving and flourishing. A state of shalom that Scripture talks about, which is universal flourishing, a win for everybody, a win for the creation. And that's the end goal. I get really excited about this idea of the wedding supper of the Lamb, the marriage supper of the Lamb that will happen in the new heaven and the new earth, because we think this food is good. I mean, I can't wait to try when it's completely unadulterated.
Yeah. Unbelievable.
Right. And doesn't hurt us at all.
Yeah.
Like, it's just good.
Yeah, no matter what. Like, I can't eat grains. I can't eat bread, cookies, things like that. I'm not saying we ever should, but like someday we're going to be at that wedding feast, and whether it's there or not, I don't know if it's going to be there, but I'm going to get to eat whatever's there, and I'm so excited about that.
Oh, there's definitely going to be chocolate chip cookies.
How could there not be?
That's for sure. You can tell I've had a few of them this quarantine. My wife's just shaking her head.
What's that?
Mel's just shaking her head at me.
So, Steve, I don't want to hold you up too much longer, but the one last thing I wanted to talk to you about before I let you go is so yesterday I had Hilda Lagore on. Hilda Gore from the Wise Traditions podcast and Weston A. Price. You guys are big followers. Yeah, she is terrific, right? So we talked about nutrient density and vitamin A, and liver is really just the epitome of vitamin A. And she was talking about toxicity of vitamin A, how that's a real thing if it's synthetic. If it's from an animal, you're not going to get toxicity from vitamin A. You're going to have to eat. I've eaten half pound of liver a day for weeks on end and never got it. So, and you can attest to how much I've bought from you.
Right.
So I just wanted to let everybody know you do have organ meat randomly, but there's only so many organs per cow.
That's right.
So,
we get 1 heart per animal.
Yeah. So Steve saves all of his liver for me. No one else is allowed.
We're going to enter a lottery for this.
Yeah. But that wasn't even what I wanted to talk about. I just wanted to bring up that your animals are nutrient dense, and like this coming from what Hilda talked about with vitamin A, that you can get that from your animals. The thing I really wanted to talk about was meat waffles.
Yes.
Right?
I'm glad you brought that up because I haven't made those yet. We've been cooking like crazy here, but
yeah,
that is a treat that you gifted to me.
So I'm so grateful. It was on Instagram. There's 2 sisters called the Strongistas, and they're all meat based because they have a lot of autoimmune issues. And they've found that the meat based diet, like animal products only, not meat, but animal products, has given their life back. They were even recently on the doctor's show. They like Skyped in along with another doctor who practices animal-based stuff. And unfortunately, the doctors just made a show of it, and they just had people screaming at each other and stuff. It was sad. But these girls have made such a dent in this world, in the health of this world. Just some of it's just creating such amazing recipes like the meat waffles. They created an animal-based angel food cake the other day. So they use egg whites. I think they used collagen protein, a little bit of stevia, and some salt. And they were able to create an angel food cake that, I'm telling you, it's angel food cake. So
fantastic.
And like it's super nutrient dense. So I love this talk about the meat waffles because I wanted you to say that like it's a 1/4 pound of meat, so 4 ounces of meat. I use pork or ground beef, whatever.
Yep.
3 eggs, you throw it in the blender. Maybe a touch of salt. If you want it to taste like French toast, some stevia and vanilla.
Yep.
That's it.
Cinnamon.
Yeah, cinnamon. And then you put it in the waffle iron, or you can make pancakes out of it, right?
Yes. So we tried that with. You said ground pork. Did you say ground beef too?
I've used beef and pork both. And Dr. Ted uses sausage, pork sausage.
Yep. Yeah. We've also used ground chicken.
And
the easy conversion, if you want, is 1 pound to a dozen eggs.
There you go.
For my family with 6 of us, it takes at least that much, But the sandwiches are fantastic.
Yeah.
You can make. We've done fried chicken on waffles with a coconut gravy. I mean, it's just you can't go wrong. I mean, it's ridiculous.
And I've tried making it in different manners, but it seems like the waffle iron is the absolute best because if you try to make a bread loaf, it's got too much moisture. The pancake works, but the waffle is just the best. So I'm trying to find if maybe there's a way to make a thicker waffle, because I'll actually take 1/4 of one Belgian waffle and very carefully cut that in half.
Yep.
That way I can eat more, like I can have a burger on there and it's not all waffle. Or I'll make a breakfast sandwich like I've shown you. And that sandwich, I should have had it queued up, the sandwich that you sent me a picture of.
Yep.
Man, you said you didn't eat like the rest of that day.
It was so good and filling. I mean, it's just a powerhouse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
that's beautiful. I really appreciate that.
No worries. I'm grateful that you immediately, you went home and I got a picture, like it wasn't even a half hour later.
Well, it might have taken me that long to thaw a pound. I might have called Mel on the way home and said, "Give me a pound of ground pork. I'm coming home." That's awesome.
Well, Steve, I don't want to take up any more of your time. I am so grateful that you spur of the moment just jumped on here with me. And where can everybody find you? I have it in the notes on here. I know at the Lamppost.
That's my Instagram. So it's the @ at the Lamppost. That was before I was social media savvy.
Yeah, so at the Lamppost.
That's right. Yeah, it's a little, corny. And then we're also on Facebook, Lamppost Farms on Facebook, on Twitter. Hey, one other thing I wanted to say is that we are fortunate that we've had a retail store set up ahead of time. And so our customers know we're here, and people knew about us from buying turkeys from us for Thanksgiving. And so people are coming here. But I have some friends that are farming that are doing the same things we are, who are predominantly selling to restaurants and universities. So Footprints Farm near Uniontown, Pennsylvania,
Okay.
he just put out 1,000 chickens, laying hens, for egg production before all this stuff went down. So I know he just talked to me. He's on our board. We're a 501c3. I didn't tell you that or say that for the purpose of ministry and education. But he's a board member for us, a real good, one of my best friends. He's sitting on a lot of eggs, and right now people need eggs, or
Yeah.
people are looking for eggs. So Footprints Farm has a lot of product.
Where are they near?
They're near Uniontown, near actually Ohio Pile, Pennsylvania. My friend Colin Brown in Medina, Ohio, Dan Reynolds at As Created Feed. These are all farmers that are producing good products. Miller's Grass Fed up in Kinsman, Ohio. I mean, there's a.
I'm trying to type in what you're saying here. I know Brent Lambert from Nature Way Farms. He sells direct to people.
Yeah, Lambo was a roommate of my brother's in college. Good friends of ours. So there are farmers that can be found. Mike's you're a great connector of people. So for sure, you know a lot of people.
Yeah, if that's all I can do in this world, if that's all God made me for, then I'm as blessed as anyone, because I'm so grateful to have the connections that I've made in my life. And I've been squandering them. I've been barely using them, which is why with this whole thing going on, I decided I'm going to do as many videos as I can. I don't care if it's 10 a day or 1 a day. Just people that matter. So if you guys want to find out any of the farms that Steve was talking about, Steve is based in Ohio in Columbiana County. Steve and Melanie and their terrific family. And if you want to know any of the farmers he was talking about, or Brent Lambert from Nature Way Farms in PA, Footprint Farm near Uniontown, PA. That's PA, right? Uniontown, Uniontown, Ohio Pile area. And then a couple other places you said, reach out to Steve, or I'll have him text me a list of all these, and I'll post them. Or he can post them right in the link here too whenever we get off here.
Okay, yeah, there's more than that. I mean, I'm not naming all my friends for sure, and not that I have that many friends, but people I know. And there's a lot of farmers out there that would love to be carried in this time, and those are great places to start.
Yeah, and something you guys will love, like you guys this is what you're made for. This time in these crises times are what local farmers are made for. Musicians, we were one of our favorite bands. Everything's shut down. They can't make a living. So what they're doing is they're getting on and doing Facebook Lives, and they're playing music for tips. Unbelievable. Like there was 550 people watching The Ghost of Paul Revere last night. Just one of their guys.
Wow.
They're all three. They're secluded. They can't get together. So they can't even play together because, there's a lag in video and stuff. So, all these different bands all over the country are going to be doing this. And man, what a way to support people. If you got $5 to tip them, listening to a free half-hour set live,
Right. It's a gift.
That's awesome.
Right.
So, Steve, thank you so much. I'm going to hit the end broadcast right now. We can stay on and chat for a minute though, but I'm so grateful for you to come on, and everybody, man, reach out to Steve, try some of his products, and you will not regret it. So, thanks.
Well, thanks, Mike.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. We're
Thanks,
thankful
guys.
to be here and blessed to be able to do it.
I'm blessed to have run into you guys. And I keep saying one more thing. Do you remember the first time you met my wife? She walked in your farm and asked for odd bits.
That's right. Yep. Sure. Okay.
Pretty dark-haired girl going, do you have any odd bits? And you went, what do you do with those?
What cut does that come off of? You mean like a tail of a pig?
Yeah. You got like pig ears. I have called you about pig ears, and you were like, no, how do I do that? So, all right, let's end this guy. Thank you so much, Steve.
Thank you, Mike. Appreciate it.
No problem at all. And tell Melanie I said hi.
Will do.